Welcome to Blooms in the Yard. I'm Kate, and spring has finally sprung in my garden in Shawnee, Kansas, Zone 6. I'm excited to show you what I have blooming. It's not exactly the tour that I was hoping it would be because our redbuds didn't bloom this year. I have 7 redbuds in my small backyard, so you can imagine it's usually completely covered. And then I have a ton of daffodils that didn't bloom because of the extreme temperatures. But I do have a lot of little pockets of sweet things blooming. I don't have any big swaths of anything right now, but still I think I have a lot of fun things to show you guys today. I'm also going to give you a quick update on the grill area right behind me. It's the beginning of April. Things are starting to look good. The gas company is digging in my front yard, but they're taking a little break right now. So if they start up again, it's going to be way too loud and I'm going to have to stop. My tulips are just starting. These are definitely not what I thought they were going to be. I did not buy any white tulips, but that's okay. Still looks really pretty, and we're going to have a lot more coming soon. We'll see if we get to enjoy them very much before the storm drain project. It's starting really soon, so the gas company is moving the gas pipe out of the way. So this is some ajuga, some balloon flower coming up, creeping Jenny. So a nice little bright spot in the garden. I love the variegated iris a lot. And then this area that I just finished up in a video, I did end up taking out that sand cherry. It did have some new growth coming from the base, but the new growth was green and not red. So I was confused and I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and replace it with this 9 bark. So this is a Little Devil 9 bark that I just moved. It's looking pretty decent for having just been moved. And then the lilac is leafed out now and has a few blooms coming, even though I just moved it. So I'm pretty happy with that. The boxwood did get quite a bit of damage from our extreme temperatures, but we'll see, maybe it will recover. So that's how the grill area is doing. The golden oregano and stackies are coming up nicely. The clematis, how amazing does that look, guys? I mean, yeah, thrilled with that. And then we don't have any blooms yet on the honeysuckle, but the honeysuckle is looking good. This is a spirea that's just barely starting to leaf out. So there's that area. Quite happy with that. This is a skyrocket juniper, so once that has some height there, I'll be even happier with that area. The whole side garden here, the only thing left are the big things that I don't plan to move, don't plan to try to save, and some bulbs, which I'm not going to worry about. There are some Annabelle hydrangeas there, which I think when the project is really a full go, I'll probably just dig those up and put them in a pot. I just don't really have anywhere else to put them right now. There's also some ground covers. Some of the ground covers I'm going to try to give to a friend. So there's that. Here is my coral bark Japanese maple. It's just starting to leaf out. The Japanese maples have had some trouble. A lot of them lost their, had started to leaf out and then lost all those leaves, but then they're coming back again. Here is my stand of Solomon's seal. I'm hoping that the destruction kind of ends here. I'm hoping that I don't have to dig up that coral bark Japanese maple. I'm basically gonna, when they come, I'm gonna say, is that gonna be okay? And if they say no, then I'm gonna dig it up right then. But this is, in my mind, where I have decided the destruction will end. And so if they say it's not safe there, then I will end up moving the Solomon's seal and the coral bark Japanese maple kind of at the last minute. You can see that the vinca's blooming pretty nicely right now. I just kind of have all vinca in here, and unfortunately the English ivy is really starting to take over. It's on my list of things to deal with, but I mean, there's no getting rid of it completely because it's all on the creek bank on the other side, and unfortunately it's just taken over. I obviously didn't put it there, but it's something I'm going to have to deal with. I'll just do the best I can. The arborvitaes have all been damaged by our extreme hot and cold, but hopefully will come back. This Japanese maple is one that started leafing out and then lost all of its leaves, and I'm still waiting for that one to show me that it's going to survive. This planter, everything looks okay except for the red lettuce. And part of this is that the squirrels just won't leave this stuff alone. So if the squirrels would just give it a chance, I think we'd be okay. Let's see, the alyssum needs to kick into gear as well. This is my new area, so it's still getting with the program. And this hosta, of course, will look nice. In that video where I showed this area, I didn't really talk about this spot back here. That's basically solid rock. There's just maybe 3 or 4 inches of dirt. So that's why I just have some creeping Jenny ground cover there. Nothing big could live there. And it's funny, here you can really see, like, these boxwoods, totally fine. That boxwood, in terrible shape. So it's kind of crazy how that happened. Over here, these boxwoods are not in good shape either. I just trimmed up, I have 4 little quick fire hydrangeas. So those just got pruned and are starting to leaf out. There is a new one here. I'm trying to decide, I maybe should get rid of those daffodils, but I don't know. They didn't bloom this year, so it's hard for me to make that judgment call. So here's an area I've been working on a lot. I've got these 5 new Astilbe. Normally I would have all these daffodils blooming, but they got hit with the freeze, so they're not going to bloom this year. This is just a Bloodgood Japanese maple. So they're a little more bright red in the spring when they first come out. This is one of the mystery hostas that I got. So far it just looks kind of like a plain blue hosta. So we'll see. And then I also moved a big hosta right there. It's the, oh shoot, I'm gonna forget what that one is. I love the oakleaf hydrangeas with the leaves just coming out. I just always think they look like cool flames or something, white flames. I did trim back all of my Incredible and Annabelle hydrangeas. I have some nice things flowering right here. So these are all my Primrose. I've got 5 here. And I think that they look really nice with the Japanese maple, similar red color, and then the purple vinca kind of blooming in the background. I just moved these Virginia bluebells here, so they're looking a little rough, but I think they're gonna try to give it a go. You can see I've got several hostas coming up in this area, and then some sweet woodruff and some Canadian wild ginger. It's less shiny than the European ginger. I also recently moved this thalictrum, which is doing well. I may need to get some of that ginger away from it. And then this clematis doing well. I recently moved this Japanese maple it's looking okay. I'm gonna have to prune out some branches that have died, but I'm kind of waiting, letting it recover, see what's gonna live and what's gonna die. This area here is a nice little area. Let me get that out of there. There's a lot of really nice things happening here. So this is a wild sedum, which actually grows well in shade and was not happy in the sun. Then I have a patriot hosta. Not sure on that hosta back there. It has variegation, but it's kind of curled. I like that a lot. And then the yellow is the Celandine poppy and a little bit of hellebores that survived the freeze, and then some lettuces in my container. So I'm really happy with that area. Over here I have some wild crocosmia coming up. So these little spiky things are wild crocosmia. That will be a new experiment for me this year. So I'm excited to see how that goes. This Brunnera looking really nice. And again, I'm just waiting for these boxwoods to recover, hopefully. The Celandine poppy has started to reseed, which I'm happy about. For several years, I just had that one, and finally, it's starting to reseed. This is the Archangel, which got kind of hit back by the frost. So it's recovering. Another Celandine poppy and some columbine. I'm just letting this stuff reseed in here, but as you can see, these hostas are bright green. I don't know the variety. I got bought 2 of them when I first moved in, and over the years they've kind of been moved around and multiplied, but I think they're really pretty when they're just opening up that little swirl in the middle, and they look really nice next to this ajuga. Some creeping Jenny back here and some more Brunnera. This Brunnera also kind of got knocked back by the freeze, so a lot less blooms than usual. Usually these are covered in blooms. Maybe there's more coming, I'm not sure. This is one of the Japanese maples that was leafing out, and I hope I don't lose it. Some of the other ones have come back. I am thrilled to see that my Sun King Aurelia is coming back, because I treated it pretty awfully. If you saw that video last fall, late summer. These ferns have all spread around here, and I'm okay with that. I think they're pretty. Someone gave them to me, so I don't know the variety. I am gonna get these out of here and either pass them along to someone else or move them somewhere else in the garden. This is a wee hosta, and some of these flowers came back. This hellebore, after it got hit by the freeze, I cut it all the way back to the ground, but it still had a couple of flower buds down deep, so excited that we still have some of those. More of these unknown ferns, and you can see back there an incredible hydrangea that I trimmed back. Here's a fern leaf bleeding heart, which I've had more luck with those than your regular bleeding heart. And then in here I just have some different hostas coming up. Mouse ears. This is a blue hosta. This is just kind of a generic sedum ground cover. This is the hellebore that I just moved over here, so it's doing well. And then here's some wild geranium that's just starting to bloom. Then over here I have a couple of nice things. Uh-oh, do I need to water this? What happened? Maybe it just finished blooming. It looked prettier a couple of days ago. Anyway, this is my Pulmonaria. And this is my Jacob's Ladder, which is, I love the foliage on it and beautiful blooms as well. Then this Christmas fern, I need to get the old stuff out of there because the new stuff's coming up. I've been so busy with trying to rescue all the plants in my side garden. I haven't really done I haven't done a lot of the regular maintenance that I would do, such as pulling weeds and this kind of stuff. This is my snowflake oakleaf hydrangea. Can't wait for this to bloom this year. A couple more hostas, one hellebore coming back to life, some ajuga. Let's see, again, the red lettuce is not recovering from everything. Oh, you can see that this is really getting eaten. I think the squirrels are enjoying the lettuce this year, which I've never had the squirrels eat the lettuce, but whatever. That's just the kind of year it is. So sadly, I don't know if my climbing hydrangea is going to make it. It has a little bit of signs of life, very little. One little bit of green down there and two little things of green here, and that's it. So if I need to buy a new one, that's just what I'm going to have to do. I'm thinking about putting this window box there, so that's why that's sitting there. I have so much to do right now that's going to be a long-term project. That's not going to be able to happen right now. These Patriot hostas are looking nice over here. They've been here for a little while, and I'd say this is the first time that they're kind of looking good and healthy. This area is kind of neglected, so I've pretty much put Annabelle hydrangeas and hostas that I think will do well. There's a Brunnera here. I think I just moved a turtle head right here. And this box honeysuckle is coming back. I should trim that back. Okay, so haven't seen very many signs of life on this witch hazel yet, but I'm going to be patient on that. A couple of hostas coming up in there. This is where I put that yew that I moved, where I put the Columnar Japanese maple. I had to take this yew out, so if anyone saw that video and is curious where that ended up. This clematis has some new growth coming back there. Haven't seen any growth on this one yet. This clematis looking good after its transplant. Oh, you know what that little pink flower is? Strawberries. I put these are ever-bearing strawberries, and I bought them because they were pink, and I thought that was really cute. And this kind of being sloped here, I thought that these might do well, so that's kind of cute. That's exciting. I just planted those last year. Up above that, I just transplanted this epimedium into this area, and it's doing well. And then back here, I stuck a piece of that clematis that kind of broke into pieces, and it's alive. So things are going well there. This boxwood has some damage, but the tall boxwood is looking pretty good. So I'm optimistic about this area. I did decide what we really need for this ground cover is some compost and mulch, so that's something I'm starting to work on. Another oakleaf hydrangea leafing out. Some nice vinca blooming. I know I'm going to hear complaints about the vinca. It's fine. It's under control. We're all good. Okay, here is my Inaba Shidari Japanese maple just leafing out. Nice bright spot right now. And I just love, that purple vinca against this red. I think that that's really nice. My only daffodils that have bloomed for me this year are these Thalia daffodils. They're normally my latest blooming, so they did manage to have some survive through the 12-degree night, and they're looking good. I need to put my bird bath out. I moved 3 kaleidoscope abelia into this area just recently, and they're all starting to show signs of life. So that's what will be here when the daffodils finish. This topiary is looking not great, but okay. A lot of things in here are new. So I moved these 2 peonies from the east side. Actually, they were right there where those machines are right now. Actually, when they showed up with these machines this morning, I had to dig up still some irises and some wild ageratum and an Asian lily. So I was out here first thing digging things up. I just have some little stuff growing in here. Lots of penstemon. I have some showy penstemon and some Husker red penstemon. This is my new hen and chicks. It's lost a little bit of its red color. I think it's been kind of cold and wet. I think if it can survive, the next month, I think it'll look wonderful this summer. So let's take a look at the sun border. Normally this would all be daffodils blooming. So all this foliage is almost all daffodils that we're missing out on this year. These are the Tahiti daffodils, and these are like a white double. I like the look of this stringy sedum growing over the rocks here. It kind of has the look of moss, but in full sun, and I think it looks best in the springtime. My variegated euonymus always does that. It's like, I keep thinking I should take it out. But let's look at, and then, arborvitae, not good. Let's look at something that I'm happy with. I love this Franz Fontaine hornbeam. How pretty are those little florets or stamen or whatever they are? Little flower buds, something. They're really pretty. I've been enjoying those as they develop. And of course the sand cherry is looking really beautiful right now. I have some, let's see, they aren't backpacker tulip. I'll have to look and see what those are. I couldn't find the one tulip I wanted to get, so I got something slightly different. And a lot of the tulips here in Kansas City are going to be shorter than normal because of the weather, but I'm happy to have them at all. Let's see how this guy looks. I wonder, I'm gonna probably trim back this orange stuff when the weather chills out, but it looks alive. I think it's gonna try to make it. So normally, again, that would all be my pink charm daffodils blooming, and here are some grape hyacinths, and all the flags in the yard are from this project. It shouldn't be coming over here, but you know how they are. They just feel like they need to put their flags everywhere. Spirea and golden oregano, along with a blue star juniper. Nice foliage contrast. I do have something kind of hiding in here blooming. This is Veronica Speedwell, a ground cover Veronica. I used to have more of it, but you know, things disappear sometimes. It's really sunny out here. Yeah, this would normally be like the star of the show with all my daffodils, but it's just not happening this year. Let's see. Let's take a look at these tulips. They're kind of short, but they're not all the way open yet. They're definitely a slightly different color, a little more bright pink than my ones last year. So I do think I like the backpacker a little bit better than, I'm trying to remember what these were called and I can't remember. This has, when I put this here, a long root went over here and then it came up. So I'm gonna dig him up and save him. Maybe put him in the east side, I think, yeah. When they finish the project over there, then I can have one plant ready to go over there. Oh, you can see these. Oh, they're not going to be amazing, are they? The tulips. That's just that 12-degree night that kind of hurt everything. I just built this structure for my snapdragons to hold them up. I think I might have made it a little bit too tall. This is what I accidentally just stepped on. A little bit of poppies coming up. It's not great dirt and I need to water it. This is my standing ovation Serviceberry, which I really like. A raccoon or a bunny or something cut all the pieces down the first year I planted it. So you can see like that is where it used to have a nice big branch, and they all got cut down one year, and it's taken several years to recover, but I just moved it, and I moved it in the fall and it's looking good. So I think it might actually become something good one day. This is the first time it's bloomed since I first bought it. So it's been like 2 or 3 years since I've seen it bloom. Don't you just love all those flags? Here's my creeping Phlox that I have by my front mailbox, and I have a little bit of grape hyacinths kind of mixed in. So this used to be a big, huge cottonwood tree, and it was all landscaped. And basically, I just have a little bit left along the edge of this creeping Phlox and the grape hyacinths, and everything else is new. So that's why it looks a little less developed. But I've put a lot of things in here, and it's just a matter of time before it looks wonderful. And again, this is a Winecraft black smoke bush, so it's going to get really big. I just bought it last year, and then I moved it in the fall to this spot, so it'll be a minute. But I was trying to kind of echo some red over there, some red here, and then if I move that other sand cherry from there over to the east side, which is to the left of my driveway over here, then I would have that red kind of throughout. So this viburnum is all budded up. It's going to be wonderful very soon. Well, I don't know how soon, but soon-ish. It's just covered in buds, and these have big white balls, kind of like hydrangeas. A lot of people think that they are hydrangeas if they don't know, but they bloom a lot earlier, right? So it's going to bloom in April or May for me. I have one little leftover pink impression tulip. I've removed most of those at this point. Just some got kind of dug up over the years, and I decided I would kind of get rid of the rest of them. These are some hostas that I just moved here, again, from back by the waterfall where they're going to be doing this work. And these, I guess I'm going to wait and see if those do anything. They're allium, or are they tulips? I think they're allium. I've had a lot of bulbs in here, and I'm kind of in the process of like seeing what is just green at this point and no longer giving me blooms. I need to eliminate some of that extra green if it's not producing anything. I've been working on this area. I'll probably include that in a separate video. There's a lot of new things in here. I need to come water this. The potager garden, yikes, it looks really dry. Time to water it. Let's go take a look at that container. I'm really enjoying this container. I think it looks like $1 million. Being in the rabbit-proof fence, I guess the squirrels haven't found it. So the red lettuce is looking good. The creeping Jenny, which I just took out of the ground and stuck in there, is looking good. Hellebores. Everything looks really nice. So I'm glad I have one decent looking container this spring. I was going to completely skip the potager garden because I feel like it doesn't look like much right now, but I thought, well, if people know about the potager garden, they might be kind of curious how things are going. So I decided to include it, even though it's not looking nearly as good as it normally does. This area, the lettuce has done the best. So this lettuce has been through 3 different bouts of 90 degrees or upper 80s and a 12-degree night. So with 3 days of freezing. So it's doing pretty well considering, but this side's a little bit sunnier. It gets dried out more quickly, and so the lettuce has not fared well over here. So there's should be a row of green and a row of red. There is, if you look real closely, there's a little bit of red dotted throughout, and I am leaving it, but you know, it's not looking how I would hope it would. This kale, the squirrels completely ate it down on my back deck when I was hardening it off. I brought it inside, it revived, and the squirrels have not found it yet in the potager garden. Here I have cilantro coming up, and then the other little things you're seeing that might look like weeds, poppies, larkspur. Now you do have to be really careful because here's the cilantro, here's the larkspur. This is poisonous, so you need to be careful. But the larkspur and the poppies reseed in here. You can see a bunch more poppies over here. The poppies don't do as well outside of the vegetable garden. I talk about that quite a bit in my potager tour, kind of explaining how everything works in the potager in the different seasons. But these things that reseed are really happy in the potager, and so I do let them do their thing. Over here, I think I only have 3 red lettuce left. So 1, 2, 3. And I did move them forward, and I went ahead and put some of the red kale in here because I was like, my row of red lettuce is not happening. These are allium. And then I also have a bunch of Asiatic lilies that will fill in the back area as summer comes on. So over here, the peas, again, planted before the heat. Lettuce and peas do not appreciate 90 degrees. So I don't know if they're gonna do anything. They're kind of just stunted. I feel like they've been this way for quite a while. Not that much has come up, but I'm gonna go ahead and leave it. You can see the red lettuce the green lettuce. This stuff coming up, unfortunately, is raspberries. They are coming up everywhere. It's just part of having raspberries. And I just continue to do this until they stop coming up sometime in summer. All this other stuff, this is from letting my cherry tomatoes fall. So these are little baby cherry tomato plants. That is a baby morning glory. And that is a poppy, which I'm gonna leave. Let's see what this is. These are, that looks like cilantro. So you gotta be good at recognizing things in my potager garden. Let's see. Yeah, these are all tomatoes, and I've learned to just plant a tomato that I've started inside. So that's what's going on there with the peas and the lettuces. And in the summer, I'll plant one big tomato in the middle of there. The other thing going on in the potager garden is I do have a little bit of species tulips, which I started. They used to go all the way around, but some have either died out or gotten dug up over the years. So now I just have, this is kind of the best looking little patch. These are the Tarda species tulips. And then in the middle here, you can see some more poppies coming up. The climbing rose, I don't know, it's not looking great. Of course, the one branch that looks healthy is the one that's growing the wrong way. You're supposed to trim the ones that are going the wrong direction. Yeah, I don't know, guys. This might not be long for this world based on what a rose expert told me. Okay, this is my, I'm not giving up on the climbing rose yet. I'm gonna trim it back soon. I've been kind of putting it off. Spinach back there, garlic here, and then this. So last fall I planted cilantro here and nothing happened. And then this summer, or this spring, I planted some lettuce mix here. So obviously they both decided they wanted to grow together. So I have cilantro and lettuce growing there together now. And then it looks like a little more poppies back there. This used to be, this was a dahlia, but I think the dahlias did not make it through the winter here, which is totally fine. I wasn't counting on them at all. I already have some new ones started in the house. So that is the potager, and it usually looks a lot better, but we're gonna just take what we can get this year because it's been a rough year. Oh, and that is the asparagus back there. So they've mostly been coming up pretty skinny, but I heard recently you should go ahead and pull them so that they keep producing more. So I guess I'll do that. This area I just have some grape hyacinths, and then these three right here are the native foxglove beard tongue penstemon. So those will have tall white flowers here in May pretty soon. And this is the Pussy Toes native ground cover. I've been told that these flowers look more impressive in other years without the bad weather, but I don't know because I've never seen them. The bench might have been a mistake. So trust me, it looked worse when I first got it. I painted it and it's a little bit too bright for me. Thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this spring tour. It's early April here, and I feel like May is an amazing time in my garden, so I look forward to sharing that with you soon.